Okay, so I'm going to introduce our guest speakers today. So Jeff Donley from he's a financial crimes detective for Cherokee Sheriff's Office. Thank you for coming, and also Jose Pinto, outreach specialist, senior Medicare patrol. So thank you for coming. So we're going to start with Jeff first. Make sure also keep your questions. That's why we have the notebooks. If any questions, keep it at the end of Jose's presentation. We're going to open it up for Q&A. Okay.
I appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Jeff Donley with the Cherokee Sheriff's Office, and I am assigned to the Financial Crimes Unit with the Sheriff's Office. I've had that assignment since 2007, and can't tell you how many cases of fraud I've investigated, but I will tell you what, the majority of our victims are everybody that wasn't handed an iPad or a cell phone at the age of 5. And I think that's just about everybody in this room. Kids nowadays, they kind of got good with technology, they're smarter, they start earlier. So it's just the way the world has gone to where we are now. And all of us here pretty much still trust everybody for the word. A handshake goes a long way. It's a different world now than what it is. Started doing the investigations, and we started realizing that the majority of our victims are those who are over the age of 50, and a lot of them are over the age of 65. And so we decided, you know, instead of just being reactive to the victims, what if we try to coach some of the people up? Let's give them tips. Let's educate them a little bit that can reduce their chance of becoming a victim of fraud. So we started looking over cases, looked over about probably 300-400 cases, and come up with a list of 10 things. And those 10 things had those victims taking advantage of those tips. There's a good likelihood that they would not become a victim of fraud. So we come up with this. You see if I can get it to go. Maybe.
Let me see that. Oh, just saying something.
There we go. Very good. Okay, I call this a peace of mind, praying on the trust that you folks, that your family, your friends, everybody that's over the age. Tonight, I'm hoping to give you some tips on how to reduce the risk of becoming a victim of fraud, provide you with some resources that's going to help you, and also help you secure your identifying information. That's your name, your date of birth, your social security number, anything that's affiliated to your financial world. I'm also going to try to give you a few tips on how to avoid becoming a victim of being scammed, also solicitation of junk mail. Give you a few pointers as to how to reduce that junk load, if you will. And I hope to give you and your friends a peace of mind, but in order to do that, I got to give you a peace of mind. I used to go in the rooms and tell people, I'm here to give you a piece of my mind. You'd be surprised at some of the looks I got. And so after they heard what it was about, they softened up a whole lot more. Reducing the risk of becoming a victim of fraud. First thing I want you to do, this is tip number 1. And you see your handout. It's a little different format than this, but it looks just like that. Feel free to make notes on those, share them, do whatever you need to do. You can make copies. This is the tips that I hope will help you out. First of all, Credit Karma. Just about everybody's heard of Credit Karma. It's a free service. You create a profile, password, log into it. It tells you how many credit accounts you have, whether it's mortgage, car note, credit cards, what have you. It tells you the status of that account, it's in good standing or bad standing, or you need to work on it. It also tells you what the balance is. It even gives you a rough credit score. I think it's about 20, maybe 25 points lower than your actual credit score. I think that's just Credit Karma being a little bit safe. After you set up that account with Credit Karma, go ahead and order one of your credit reports. You don't need to order all 3 because they're just about all the same. So you're typically going into the library and you're going to rent 3 of the same book. So just pull one service. Let's say go to Equifax. On your handout, page number 3, it gives the web addresses on how to get to the credit bureau sites. So go to Equifax.com, pull up your credit report. You'll have to set up a profile and password. Once you get that done, look it over, scrutinize it real good. Dispute anything that you think is either suspicious or it's definitely not you. After you do this, freeze it. Now, I think Josh, I think you're going to buy that Corvette, so I would probably wait a little bit. All right, unless you're in the middle of doing something where you're financing, freeze your credit. It's really simple. Once you freeze it, if you need to unfreeze it would mean you need to make it available to where you can get credit. It's easy to do. Whether you thaw it out is what they call it, thaw it for a day, a week, 10 days, 30 days, you can do that, and it'll lock right back down. Now the freeze, what it does is a lot of people, they get a little confused because they're like, wait a minute, what about my credit cards and what I have now? The credit you currently have is good. It's fine. It stops any new credit from being generated. You'd rather find out through your credit card account that somebody's applied for credit using your information within an hour instead of having to wait until the end of the month and getting that letter from the credit bureau. If you freeze your credit, it's not going to happen. But still, Credit Karma will still notify you if somebody attempts a hard inquiry. So that gives you a heads up that somebody's trying to use your resources. Next, I want you to move to your credit cards. You can set it up to where you get what's called push notifications. If you want to be notified of a transaction, whether it's anything over $10, anything over $50, $100, it'll notify you every time you use that card over that limit. Do that with the credit cards, do it with your bank card. You can do it also with your savings account, your checking account, everything. It's a real good way to know what's going on in real time. And trust me, it gives you peace of mind when you go to a restaurant and you're sitting there and you're talking, you hand your credit card over, they walk away. A minute or two later, you get a text message, a bill's just been paid. They bring your card back, and that just gives you, again, that little bit of peace of mind, right? It works, okay? When you get a text message from the bank, do me a favor, don't answer. Don't answer. If they tell you that they detected suspicious activity on your bank account, pull up your account on your phone, look at it. If you're getting the text alerts and push notifications, you're going to know if you got something going or something not. So you're already ahead of the game. Just delete it. All right. Or you can go if you're home, or if you're out and about in the middle of the daytime and you're by the bank, go ahead and pull into the bank and say, hey, listen, I just got this text message. Is this legit? And they'll tell you, no, it's not. It's a scam. If you engage in it, you're going to open some doors you wish you didn't do. Because if you put yes, it's going to be just a matter of a minute or two, you're going to get a phone call. And hi, I'm from your bank. I'm from the fraud department. I'm telling you, they're going to get you money. They're going to get you money. Never reply to text messages from the bank. Next, if you can avoid using your debit card at a restaurant where you're handing it to somebody walking away from it, if you can avoid using your debit card, avoid it. And because you have less protections with your debit card than you do a credit card. Use your credit card for everything. If you're at Publix or at Kroger and you got your debit card, that's fine. Go ahead and use it. If you're at a gas pump and that's all you've got, go ahead and use it. But it says, is this a debit card? No. It may ask you the billing zip code, but it's not going to get your PIN. Everybody, if they pull on that little device and they kind of, check the machine, that's not where the scammers are. The scammers have got pretty good. They have the little post office type keys that they're able to pull up in like a big Suburban. They open up the front driver's door, the back door. Now they got an office space to work in. They open up the cabinet. They take loose the ribbon connector. They connect their device up to it. Now it's Bluetooth. They close it back. They lock it back up. Just show what they're doing. Pull around the parking lot. Pull up the laptop. They're waiting on you to come by. So you put that card in there. It's a debit card. You enter your PIN. Prints out on your screen, and you enter the PIN. There it is. All they got to do now is take a gift card, and they write it to that card. So when the bank tells you, well, you must have given your PIN away. No, that's pretty much how that happens. It happens a lot. Happens every single day. So use it as a credit card, not as a debit card. Real quick, jump to Wi-Fi real quick. I throw this up there real quick because a lot of people, they forget about it later on. Just about everybody loves the luxury of walking around your house or your apartment with your phone, laptop, not having a cord. It's only take you so far. So if you have a Wi-Fi router, password protected. If you don't password protect it, someone can pull up in front of your home and they can start using your internet to commit fraud. And you know what happens when the police show up and they ask you about your Wi-Fi. Because most of the time, those who are older don't have password protected routers, and we kind of know who it is when we go up and we wonder, okay, you're not buying $6,000 worth of gym equipment because you're 90, and someone has used their internet to place the order, and that's a way that we're able to track those orders. That's how that works. So make sure your Wi-Fi is password protected. Next thing we're going to work on is chatting online. This is where everybody here knows somebody who lost a lot of money. I get it. A lot of people, they get lonely, they get bored. They find themselves in a position where family doesn't reach out like they used to, and so they go to the internet. And they think, well, you know what, I'll just go, this platform's good, Plenty of Fish is good. All right, so there's a lot of Christian sites, you've got Christian Mingle, there's a whole bunch of these websites. I'm gonna go to this one and start checking out, and they find people. And they find people with likes that they like, same type of habits, they may be widowed just like them. And so they start a relationship engaging on the keyboard. Who was it that our mom and dad told us when we walked into the store when we're 5 or 6 years old? Who did they say, do not talk to? Okay, who's on the other end of that internet? That dark man in the alley. All right, don't talk to the dark man in the alley. Some of you know they get online and they start engaging. They have no idea who it is. No idea. That person on the other end could be anybody. And a lot of people say, well, I'm never going to fall for that stuff. I'm telling you, yes, they will. Yes, you will. Here's typically how it works. Anybody ever got one of those strange text messages that says, hi, how are you? You know, who's this? So they, do I know you? And they say, you know, I'm sorry, I had my number. They don't know if you're a male or female. I'm sorry, I had this number in my phone. I thought I missed a call from you. I'm sorry, can I get your name? Okay, now it's going to be Tim, Kelly, Christina. One of those is like, oh, I'm sorry, didn't mean to bother you. It must have just been an accident. And you're going to dismiss it. A couple days later, you're going to get a text message. It's going to be, hi, Christina. Just wanted to say hi. I hope you have a good day. This is Edward. I texted you the other day by accident. I'm sorry. You know, all right, harms. This continues on for about 3 or 4 weeks. Not every day, but every other day, maybe one evening from Edward. Hey, I just, hi, Christina. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a good evening. Just seeing your name again. Thought I'd just say hi. Well, if you're that senior, that's a lifeline. This is the only one that's reaching out to me. This is the only one that wants to talk to me. So, hi, Edward. Hope you have a good evening too. Right? This continues on and on until you go to lunch with a friend and say, what are you doing? Oh, I just talked to my friend. I got a friend, Edward, you know, or if it's around, or Christine is a friend of mine, and we've been talking a lot. And they groom into where they find out what you're doing, what you used to do, how much money you got, have you ever invested, where do you live at? You know, and they get all of this, and then after about 4, 5, 6 months, they know what you got, they know what you don't have. Guess what? Tragedy has struck. My sister's dying, and her insurance was canceled, and they're gonna let her die unless I help her, and I don't have the funds right now. Christina, I need your help. Well, you got one. Sure. How much do you need? I need 10,000. And it begins, and they keep going and keep going. So, thing to do is don't use your real identity. Teach people to use a script. You've heard that term, 10-foot and bulletproof? Man, why not? I'd like to be about 6'4", 180. Yeah, you know, I like the height, you know, but that's just the way it goes. But they don't have to use the real information. They can create a script. They can create a profession, what they used to do, where they live, be anybody they want to be. Don't give personal information. Don't give these guys, you know, enough to where they know what you're doing, what you used to do to get a hold of your money. Create a different profile. And always remember, they're not your friend. They have an end game. And that end game is to get your money. That's what they want. We've had victims get as much as $300,000. We've had them take second mortgages on their homes because they needed help, and they felt like, well, I'm the only friend that got me work. You know, and I try to tell people that guy or that girl that's on the other end that you think is the Prince Charming, or this girl that really wants you. And I try to tell a lot of guys, listen, you know, you're 72 years old. What would a 34-year-old woman want to do with you? Think about it. You know, she wants what you have, which is a nest egg. Don't give in and give her your money. Okay? Don't allow anybody to take remote control of your computer. They say, I see that you've got a problem with your computer. I think I can help you. I'm going to send you a code. I want you to enter it down in that menu.
you are giving them full access to what's inside your computer, your passwords, your logins, bank account information, everything, and they're gonna keep you tied up while they're draining your bank account. Now, let's say something happens and you do that, and they start draining your bank account. Those earlier push notifications will set things off on your phone, right? Your phone's gonna start going crazy. You hang up, call your bank, say, lock my account down, pull those transactions back, those are unauthorized, kill it. So everything has a way of working its way back. So remember that. Phishing is not phishing, right? Phishing is what we just talked about. I'm Edward. How you doing, phishing? You know, that's the phishing part. I'm gonna keep phishing information out of you so I get what I want. And then I'm gonna milk you dry of all of your money, and then you're never gonna hear from me again. You're gonna try to reach out to me, it's gonna say, no longer online, and I'm gone. Beware of scams, email, phone. No one's gonna call you from the IRS. Anyone got a phone call from the Internal Revenue Service? They don't call. Anybody ever got a call from, let's say, Social Security? Sheriff's Office? Yeah. We'll call you if it's something to do with the case, if you're a victim of a crime, but we're not gonna call you to tell you that, you failed to appear at jury duty. And we're supposed to go to the house, say, hey, you gotta go, and the judge wants to see you. We don't do that, and anybody on these jury scams, whether it's federal or local jury scam, you know ahead of time if you needed to be in court. You get those questionnaires, you gotta fill those out and send them in, and thankfully, it doesn't read your mind because it would be bad all over the paper. Because nobody likes to go to jury duty. I'm not telling anybody that says, I get to go. Maybe first time, after that, they don't want to go. But just pay attention to that, and you know, the prize winnings. Don't let anybody tell you that you have to pay the taxes ahead of time, win a prize. How many people have entered the Canadian lottery and won? You know, they're like, oh, I won, yeah, well, when did you enter? You know, nobody enters. Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Tell you what. I don't know of anybody who knows anybody who has seen anybody who knows a cousin that won. You know, my wife has once became a sixth finalist. I'm like, here we go. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Does anybody know anybody who said, hey, guess you showed up at my house with balloons? Steve Harvey, the big check. Doesn't happen. I'm not gonna say it's a scam, but I tell you what, it does sell magazines. It does sell. All right, grandparent scam. This one's big, it cycles around. You'll hear it come through, the news will talk about it, and then it goes away. Grandparent scam. You get a phone call, someone, they say, no. They say, is this David? Yeah. Well, David, you don't sound like so. I broke my nose in a wreck. You know, I'm down here in Texas or whatever. I went off for a weekend with the guys and I wrecked my car, and the ladies hurt me real bad, and I went to jail and I need some help. Well, what do you need, buddy? I need $1,400. I'm gonna put the attorney on the phone. Attorney on the phone, next thing you know, you're sending out $1,400. I didn't get it. Well, I sent it, I didn't get it. Gotta send it again. Okay, now I see it's not $1,500, now it's $3,000. That one didn't go through either. I need it again. They keep doing this, you know? Don't give into these scams. Don't give into it. Right? Next, mail call. Boy, is mail calling bad, but that's a real. We get so many check wash cases now. Check washes, when somebody uses acetone on the checks that you mail out. Acetone is fingernail polish. You pour it across the top of the check. Try it at home. Pour it across the top of the check, and the check that you had that made out payable to goes away. Give it about 30 seconds and it's dry, and it's like you never made that check out to anybody. And they steal the checks, wash the checks, and mobile deposit those checks into an account that was opened up using somebody else's information. They perfected it. So when you finally get that phone call or that past due notice, and you try to figure out what happened to the check, you pull it up online, and you look at the view of it, and you say, oh, I didn't make that check out to that person. So you got to dispute it with your bank, and it starts a whole nother investigation. Personally, I think there's an issue with the distribution center in Palmetto. I don't have any hard proof, but I tell you what, I find it real odd that the majority of the checks that are mailed out to people, they never make their destination. But they always seem to find a way to different checking accounts in middle Georgia. Just saying, it doesn't look good. All right, don't put checks in your mailbox. You'd be surprised how many times I drive by subdivisions 8, 9 o'clock at night, flags up. Don't do that. If you have to mail something, take it to the post office. Don't shove it in the box. We've had people also saying, well, I can see that there was a whole bunch of mail that was stuffed out of there, but I can still fit it in there. Don't do that. Wait till the next day, take it to a UPS store, take it to a mailbox center, take it somewhere, but make it go from your hand to their hand. Make sure it gets at least there properly. What happens after that? Well, we know what happens to it. It's going to Palmetto, Georgia. Right? Don't do that. Hand value your possible, okay, hand it to the person inside the post office. Don't put it in the mailbox the night before. Right? Shred your junk mail. Be surprised how much money garbage men make by pulling your credit card offers out of the garbage. They get roughly anywhere between $50 to $100 per card. Because think about it. Part of your information is already on that card. Your address, your name, doesn't cost a whole lot to get the rest of it. They're going to be back next week, so they're going to be able to go online after they fill out your credit information. They're going to be able to go online and see when that's going to be mailed. They're going to get notified about it. When they do, it's just going to be happening that they're going to have to do a surprise run through the garbage. They're going to come by and they're going to pick it up. And you're going to say, I don't know what happened. I don't know how they got mixed up. That's how they get your stuff. If you want to stop all those bank offers, those Discover cards, Home Depot, credit cards, so just all kinds of credit providers. If you want to stop it, if you go to this website, optoutfreescreen.com, fill out the information and submit it, it'll stop them for 5 years. You're not going to get any credit card offers. If you're with Bank of America, you're still going to get those offers. If you're with Regions, you're still going to get their offers. It stops the new credit offers from coming in. They stop. If you print the document out, fill it out. It stops it forever. How long is forever in the fraud world? 5 years. Well, I found that out. How many have entered their number when they do not call this? Once is all it takes, right? How many times have you entered that number? At least once a year? Well, forever's 5 years. Once a year for the do not call. All right. USPS.com. If you go to that, it's called informed delivery. You can see what mail is going to be delivered at your home or in your mailbox today or tomorrow. It gives you a preview. It's almost like if you went to your mailbox, pulled your mail out, run it on the copiers and scanned it and emailed it to yourself, and you opened it up and you could look at the mail. Power bill, gas bill, it's everything. And if it's not there that day, it'll be there the next day or the day after that. Here's your preview. USPS.com. Informed delivery is what it's called. Be vigilant. A lot of people rely on us to be the first line of defense. Everybody has their own personal identifying information. Secure your information. It's up to you to do it. I can't do it for you. If you do all those tips, you're doing real good to reduce your chance of becoming a victim of fraud. Remember the stranger danger. Don't get fished. You can fish, but don't get fished. It sounds too good to be true. You all know it is. Pay online is safer than using mailbox. Now, a lot of people were reluctant to do that. It's worthwhile to do now, and then you're not mailing that check out, and it's not floating all over the place. You're getting washed and redeposited somewhere else. Those are the tips. Finally, one other thing. If you want to reduce your risk of becoming the victim of fraud in half right now, pick up your cell phone, turn it off. Take it home, call someone next to you. That's right. Not gonna happen. That's our world. We're connected to the kids, our work, everything. But just remember, that's a computer in your hand. Have malware protection on your phone just like you do your computer at home. Treat your phone just like you would the computer at home. Don't get reckless, don't get careless with it. Protect it. Remember, that's another line of defense. You have my business card, you have my email. If you need anything from me, if I can help you, I'll be glad to help you out. I know it was fast, but that's my tips. I appreciate it. Okay. Yes, sir. Sure.
Evening, everyone. My name is Pinto. I work for an agency called the Senior Medicare Patrol. We're fully funded by a grant from you, the taxpayer. We're funded by a grant from HHS, and we're managed by the Office of Inspector General. All we do is go out in the community and talk to seniors and caregivers about Medicare fraud. That's it. I don't sell anything. I don't sell any services or products. And thank God I don't have to solicit donations. We are fully funded by one grant.
And how many people here are taxpayers? Okay. How many people here receive Medicare? You don't have to do it, all right? How many people here know someone on Medicare? Everybody should have raised their hand. We are out there trying to protect seniors and their caregivers as well as the taxpayer against Medicare fraud. And how we do that, if everybody could just open up, does everyone got one of these? I want to talk to you guys. I want to talk to you guys about our mantra. Protect, detect, report. So, prevent, detect, report. So can anybody here tell me how you prevent Medicare fraud? What's one way to prevent Medicare fraud? Don't read ahead. Don't read ahead. Don't use Medicare. After 65, that's almost impossible. But anyways, anybody? Protect your card. Don't carry your card around. Make sure you protect your number. The best way to do it is don't answer the phone. Do not talk to people that are calling you unsolicited. Do not interact with anyone that is trying to sell you something that you need from a medical provider. Where's the best place for you to get anything like a CPAP machine, knee brace? Where's the first place you should start if you need a medical device? Primary care provider, correct, right? You always want to go to your primary care provider first. How many people here watch TV? How many people here watch the free TV that you get? Come on, streaming? Nobody puts the, okay, yeah, okay, good. Well, yeah, you can put, no, streaming isn't free, but you know what is free? You put your antenna up and they sell these little antennas at Walmart for like $12. And you can get about 40 channels. And on every one of those channels is old reruns. How many people here remember? Well, you guys are too young over it. And I want to point out everybody that's, how many people here remember Rockford? Rockford Files? Come on, Barney Miller. And you know, I mean, thank you. I love Barney Miller. When my parents came to this country, they were learning English, and that's how they learned English. And so they would learn English by watching these old reruns, and I would sit with them, and I love them. So I sit there and I go on the free television and I watch Barney Miller, Night Court. How about Three's Company? What this? But I sit there and I'll watch every commercial that comes up. Every commercial that comes up is what? Buy a knee brace. Buy a back brace. Do this, do that. You have all this medical equipment we can sell you. Do not interact with anyone on television and talk to your loved ones. Tell them what these people are selling probably isn't in your best interest. What you should do is do what? Go to your primary care physician or take your loved one to their primary care physician and figure out if they need a knee brace. People say, well, then why do they do this? Why do they put this on television? How can they do this? We consider that something called gray fraud. What happens is these providers have somebody that does a telemedicine visit with your loved one. They call in, they say, hey, that knee brace looks great. Great, we have a doctor for you. Let's get your Medicare number, let's talk to you, let's get you with a doctor. You get on the phone, the doctor says, is your back hurt? Yep. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and bill Medicare for what? A knee brace, right? And they can legitimately bill Medicare for that knee brace. But guess what? That knee brace is something that you could have gotten at Walmart for $25. And it's probably not going to work that well. Also, if God forbid you get one of these guys that sells you a CPAP, and we've been getting reports that these CPAPs that are coming through those types of venues are recalled, some of them. Some of them are also refurbished, and you're not told that they're refurbished. And they're just not in very good shape. And if you need any type of maintenance on it, guess what they're gonna do? Oh no, the phone number won't even work. Forget it. Oh yeah, we'll get you your maintenance, don't worry about it. Those companies will then be shut down by our friends in law enforcement, federal or local, and they'll just pop back up somewhere else under a different business name. It's a very common practice. So please Prevent Medicare fraud by not letting your loved ones or yourself call these people that you see on television. Additionally, protect your Medicare number. Do not allow it to be compromised. And never, ever, ever interact with someone on the telephone. If they're calling you unsolicited, it's no good. All right? Have everything go directly to voicemail and then call them back. All right? That's if you know them. That's how you want to do it. All right, that's very, very important, guys. And so I want you to help prevent Medicare fraud by doing that. How do you guys think the best way to detect Medicare fraud is? Receipts. And what do we call receipts, guys, when Medicare or your insurance? Your explanation of benefits. For those of you that have an explanation of benefits, for those of you on Medicare Advantage, you usually get your explanation of benefits monthly. For those of you guys on traditional Medicare, quarterly, correct? Quarterly, right? So you want to get that quarterly. Go through it and make sure that you are getting the services and being billed for those services that you're being provided. Number one, you may have to pay a copay that you shouldn't have had to pay. Number two, for those of you that are on TRICARE Time for Life, for those of you that work for the federal or state government, IBM back in the 50s, you have great insurance policy or supplemental insurance policy, pay no copay or very, very low copay. They're looking for you guys because you may not look at your explanation of benefits as closely as someone that's going to be paying a little bit out of pocket. Additionally, those of you that know someone that's a dual beneficiary on Medicaid and Medicare pays zero, they go after those guys quick too. But when they do when they do give those services or medical services and bill them and then, oh, I don't care. I don't have to pay that. I don't care. It's only $25. Guess who's paying for that service that nobody got? All of us. That everyone that raised their hand said they were a taxpayer, that's who it impacts. So it's in your best interest, for those of you that are caregivers, read those explanation of benefits. Make sure that the services being provided are the ones being provided. Make sure, all right? If they said they did an MRI, make sure they did the MRI. If they said they were doing blood work, make sure they did blood work. All right, just be very clear on that, guys. Unfortunately, providers, doctors, chiropractor, you name it, specialists, all that kind, they do overbill. Sometimes it's by accident, other times it's on purpose. If you just want to Google, I talked to some people earlier before we started, our operators, and I'll give you our number here in a second. Our operators were involved in a case with about 100 other people recently in Forsyth County. With a doctor that overbilled, I think, in $30 million range. Okay, it took 3 years to get them. And I think that's sad, but that just shows you. What was your caseload? Did you say 75 people? 74 cases. 74 cases. How does one person? It's impossible. So it took 3 years to get this guy. 3 years. But they got him. He'll never be able to bill Medicare again. He'll never be able to bill Medicaid because Medicaid, as we know, is 80% federally funded. So that's a no, you can't bill there either. He was just convicted in the federal court in Rome. Recently, a chiropractor was just arrested in Cherokee County, and our operators were involved in that too. Now, we weren't the only ones, but we received several calls about this guy amongst hundreds of people complaining about him. So guys, it is very important that you look at these explanation of benefits. Make sure what the billing is, make sure what's going on, make sure you're getting what your loved one is getting what they paid for, or you yourself on Medicare, you're getting what you paid for. All right, very simple, guys. And then report. That's our other big one. As I said, we're part of the Medicare fraud reporting system funded by HHS. We are part of their system. If you call this 877 number in here, you'll be routed to an operator that will talk to you about your case. They will then we do have to report everything we get to the main Medicare fraud hotline that goes through HHS. So it's all reported to the same place. And then your case will be taken on and we'll figure out together whether it's fraud or whether you believe, something needs to be taken further. Our agency was put in place 25 years ago because the old reporting system was you call the back of your red, white, and blue card if you're on Medicare. You report the fraud there, and you would get a letter back sometimes, or sometimes they would contact you and say, we need more information, let's go through this process. And that was great. Some seniors wanted more. They said they wanted more interaction, personable, phone call. They wanted to know more about their case. So 25 years ago, Medicare started the senior Medicare patrols. We're in all 50 states and territories. So this number is good here in Georgia, but if you say, hey, I have a mother in Vermont, or a mother in Connecticut, or a mother in Alabama, call the number, they will direct you to that senior Medicare patrol for that state. All right. So what I want you guys to do is make sure that if you feel that it's fraudulent and it's Medicare related, call the number, even if you feel it in your gut. Don't you make the decision that it's not fraud. You make sure that you make that decision with one of our operators, or flip your red, white, and blue card over and call that 1-800 number on the back of your card. Either or, it's going to be reported. If you want a little more personalized service, sometimes the number on the back of the Medicare card will say, well, you call the senior Medicare patrol. Then our people will start contacting you. And one of the benefits of calling our number that makes it a little bit different is we'll case manage the case. On top of that, just say a doctor overbilled you. You call the doctor's office and you say, hey, I never did this MRI, and they're claiming you did. You can call us. Our operator will put you on a 3-way phone call and then call the doctor's office with you. And you may not know what a code 5522 or CPT code for this is, but you know what? Our operators do. All right, so when they start bringing you the runaround, give us a call, okay? Last but not least, and how much time do I get? About 5 minutes? Yeah. All right, great. We are a national agency. What happens is we get data reported to us through our contract manager in DC. She sits there and looks at all the data, and then we have phone calls as well as email blasts that go out to the different regions. Certain scams are happening in certain regions. They rotate, as you had said, they're all over the place. And one of the major scams that's going, we have to hear about it and then report out in the system. One of the major scams that's going on nationwide right now is seniors are receiving, they're on Medicare, receiving boxes of catheters. All right, whether you need them or not. Those catheters are just showing up, and then the people are either, throwing them away or calling the number, they're looking, Googling stuff. They're getting no number, no response, and they're like, what, I don't even know what this is. Well, what happens about a week later, a couple days later, they're receiving a phone call from someone saying, hey, listen, you got these catheters delivered. Medicare has denied your claim for these catheters, and now you owe us this much money for the catheters. You're like, well, but many seniors fall for that, unfortunately, because, as you said, it's a handshake, it's your word. That's what the older generation operates on. And the older generation, a lot of times, is going to be in debt. Hey, my house is paid off, all this, I'll figure this out later. Here's my credit card. What have they done? Well, obviously, their Medicare number is somehow compromised. Then number two, they hand over their credit card information, and guess what? Then you have to get these guys involved also. Then we're talking a big deal at that point, so it's getting even worse. All right, so not only is your Medicare number, yeah, now your bank account, so your credit card. So be careful of that stuff. Scam. Number two, guys, and this one has been happening, and I saw it myself in Gwinnett. This one's horrible. This one is genetic testing fraud. All right, people are doing medical. I go to a lot of health fairs. People are doing these health fairs around the metro area, and there's groups that are coming through and they're joining the health fair, paying their fee, and they're sitting down at tables. And what they're doing is they're doing genetic testing, paid for by Medicare. They'll often have scrubs on, and they'll come up with somebody that's a senior, and they'll say, hey, how are you, senior? Okay, great. Then I identify them. And they'll say, okay, great. How about some genetic testing? We do free genetic testing. It's covered by Medicare. Sure, why not? You fill it, they're in scrubs, they got a little badge on. They'll sit there and they'll fill out all the information. They'll sit down at the table. They'll have a little, it's a half card. We've seen pictures of them, and I saw one when they're half card like that. And I've seen the one I saw when they were doing a cheap swab. Then they'll drop a swab in a plastic bag and say, we're going to get in touch with you in a couple of weeks. Don't worry, we got this all taken care of. We'll bill you. I will bill Medicare, everything's taken care of. What I've heard in other states, they're doing the actual finger prick. and putting the blood on the card and then dropping it in there. So I'm like, that would be assault. But anyways, that's the guys considered one. But anyways, you know, they're not doing it legitimately, but that's what they're doing. They're doing fingerprints cards like that. And what they're saying is, we'll get back to you. What they're then doing is 2 weeks later, you're seeing a phone call in the mail, right? I mean, a phone call or a letter in the mail. It's usually a phone call. Somebody says, listen, that's some bad news. We got your genetic test back and there's some bad stuff going on here. We really need you to get this taken care of, and can't believe you didn't know about this in your family. But unfortunately, Medicare did what? Denied your claim. It's called denial of claim fraud. And what they're saying is, I cannot release this information to your family, I cannot release it to you, and I cannot release it to your doctor until what? Okay. You compromised your number by giving it to them in the first place, you compromised on your credit card, and they're running away with the money, and they're using here. Right, last but not least, any of you guys that are being, that unfortunately are caring for someone that has been impacted by a major disease diagnosis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ALS, cancer, anything like that, take it very, very careful. Scammers come out of the woodwork when you get a diagnosis. How they get that information, we do not know. But what they do is they will come at you with pills, vitamins, usually high doses of vitamin C, modern day snake oil salesman. All right, and they will say, we can cure you. We put this cream. Oh, you got, and as a caregiver, or as a individual that just got diagnosed with this, you can be in a bad place, very negative possibly, or scared. And what you're going to do is you're going to say, yeah, I'll sign up for those vitamins. That's going to help my loved one. Oh, we'll bill Medicare. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. We got these vitamins covered. Don't, we got 12 months of that. We'll get it all taken care of for you. They're not billing Medicare because Medicare does not pay for vitamin C. All right, and they do not pay for snake oil. So be careful of that. They're taking advantage. Last but not least, I said that before, but this is really last but not least, I promise. Last but not least, please report Medicare fraud to someone. Report it to us on this 877 number. Report it to the sheriff. Report it to local law enforcement. Flip over your red, white, not your Advantage card. I don't want to call all your guys and like that. Flip over your red, white, and blue card. Call the 800 number on the back and report fraud. Unfortunately, guys, if you're caregiving a senior, I worked for many, many years with seniors in many different situations, and one of the worst ones that I worked at, I was an adult protective investigator in Dade County, down in Florida. And let me tell you, when people would be a victim of fraud, abuse, neglect, exploitation, they never, ever wanted to report it or their family to know about it. They're embarrassed. So as a caregiver, be exceptionally sensitive to that. They don't want to think that grandma lost a step. And that individual says, I'm not going to let my granddaughter know I lost this money. She's already on me about me not paying my rent on time with my mortgage on time. If she finds out I lost 10 grand, oh my God, you know, she can take the keys away from me. She's not going to allow me. It's done in love and compassion and kindness. But seniors, I know I would feel, you know, maybe embarrassed and maybe not want to do it, report it. But please, please, please report the fraud because it's important. If you do not report the fraud, they're just going to go on to somebody else and they're going to keep perpetrating this crime over and over and over again. Guys, it's $1 billion industry, billions of dollars, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. This fraud impacts all of us as taxpayers, caregivers, and seniors. Seniors work hard for their money, whether you were a house person taking care of the home, a homemaker, or whether you were working every day, you were working hard for that money. Don't let people scam you out of it. That's it. All right, guys. Thank you.
We have some time for questions. Any questions from the audience?
You see ambulance services? Right there in this spot.
Unfortunately, we're getting, a lot of you guys have been calling. I can't talk about whether, you know, what's the status of any of those cases, but I can say we have been receiving more and more calls about ambulance services. And people here in Cobb County, I was at Cobb Senior Services the other day, 2 people came to me after and were talking about it.
And Jose, describe what is it? What's the ambulance?
What's happening, people are getting picked up at buying in, getting picked up by an ambulance. That ambulance, in Cobb County, it's no longer, it used to be, I think it was was it Cobb? Emergency, yeah, it was just like the fire department, they ran all the ambulances. Now it's been privatized. You have all these different private, and people are getting bills, exorbitant bills, and they had no choice. Basically, an ambulance showed up at their door, and it was whatever private ambulance showed up, and it may not be in network, or it may be out of network, it's just craziness. And so people are calling and getting charged this money, whether it's legitimate or not, I don't know, each case is different. But I can say, if you feel that you got a bill from an ambulance service that wasn't right, call our 877 number, read through it with them, talk to them about it, and let our operators identify if it is fraud. It may be legitimate, I don't know, I don't know, but I have been hearing, you're not alone, but it's a lot.
Any questions, other questions?
Yes, sir.
These emails about Medicare.gov accounts.
Yes.
Is that valid?
I would not respond to anything that is emailed to you by anyone. Now, if you've gone through the portal and signed up, don't bother them. The only way you should respond to an email is you can go online and SSA.gov as well as Medicare has an online portal, but you have to go through, I think they call it 2-factor, 3-factor authentication. Yeah, and they're doing the same with Medicare. But if you haven't gone in, set it up and have all your, T's crossed and your I's dotted, I would not interact with that. Anything coming to you like that, no, sir, no, sir, no, sir.
Thank you. I have a question for Detective Donley. It feels like a lot of these scams where people are getting into your computer and into your bank account. My friend just got scammed out of $10,000. Just similar if you've seen the movie The Beekeeper, just like that. But these perpetrators are overseas and local police are tied. There doesn't seem to be anything they can do about it. Is there any kind of formation of an international alliance to prevent some of this and take action against these perpetrators overseas?
No. No, I say no, but federal agencies will investigate it, but they have thresholds. I believe the FBI on our end is 5 million. So it takes a lot to get 5 million. And it's not worth their stake in the game to go after anything less than that. We try to protect the seniors and we go after everything that we can that looks like it's gonna be local fraud, but you're right, the majority of it, they use what's called money mules. And money mules are those people who are tied into the text scams and the romance scams, and when they get help, the money is sent to somebody else because you would be suspicious if it went overseas directly. So they normally say, can you help me? Yeah. So it's local, send it to you. And I'm under the impression, because I'm online with whoever, and my contact is sending me money, and I know that they're overseas in France or wherever, and I'm gonna send that money on. So the one that they're gonna find whenever we start doing the investigation and track it backwards, you find the mule. And I'm going, I didn't do anything wrong. I got the money from Cynthia, and she said that she needed help. And so I got the money from another guy, and then I sent it to her. Well, where is she? She's over in France. It's gone. We use the term beaches and borders. That's as far as I can go.
What's it
Local. Beaches and borders. As far as I can go. But the local fraud, the scams, the romance scams, I've not had one that wasn't overseas. They're all overseas. And I try to tell people, picture when if you're engaging with somebody through either it's a platform, whether there's plenty of fish, or something like that, just keep in mind, the person that they sent you a picture of and their family, their son, their daughter, whoever it is, that's not who they are. I want you to picture a guy sweating his tail off, sitting at a table with about 10 other guys with a big old stogie sticking out the side of his mouth. And that's the hottie that you're looking at. Keep that in mind. And I try to tell people that, you know, they're not who they say they are. And I've even had to convince people, you're not talking to Alan Jackson. Yeah, no, you're not, you know? And they're convinced. I said, if he's able to send you a picture back with the picture he just sent him wearing the flowered shirt, if he can send you another picture holding up 3 fingers, do it. It never happens. They said, well, maybe he said his phone's broken, something's wrong with the camera. I'm like, no, it's not him. You'd be surprised at the number of stories and the people that these people really firmly believe they're engaging with. But it's just part of the scam, part of the fishing. Remember, ocean's full of fish, including sharks.
So the question, because I know this kind of came up as we were talking before coming in here. How can we talk to our parents about all these things that we share without? We want to validate who they are. We don't want to take any, you know, level of, I don't want to diminish their importance, obviously, making money and all of that, maybe not all of us are conservatorship or POAs yet or anything like that, but any advice on that?
Hook them up. That's about the best thing that you can do. And if they are engaging with somebody, say, listen, say, Dad, say, who is it you're talking to? Oh, it's a buddy of mine, his name's Tim, and he's also like, here. I said, see if they'll send you a picture of him. You know, just take a picture now of whatever you're wearing and send it to him. And if he does that, say, okay, send me another one holding up 3 fingers. Not gonna happen. And if you can convince them that he's not gonna be able to do it, he's gonna come up with an excuse that he can't do it, his phone's broken, something's wrong with his camera, then you're gonna know that's not who you're dealing with. If he shoots a picture back and goes, hey, you know, then okay, it is. It probably is legit. But it's all a matter of just being alert, being aware, being vigilant. You've got to be aware. And it's hard when you try to tell your folks, that's not who you're talking to. You know what? Yes, it is. You know, it's hard to convince them otherwise. But you just got to just be patient and persistent and just convince them.
Yeah, you don't want me to do all of it.
Yeah. Well, this year, believe it or not, that will cost you nothing. It's just a little bit of time. And just don't do what a lot of people do. They put their passwords and everything and stick them on the fridge. Don't do that. Put it where you keep your passports, birth certificates, your important papers, put it there. I've had people say, well, I keep it on the side of my fridge. Don't do that. That's just me.
Is the Medicare supplement, which is not really fraud and Medicare, then it can be.
Fraud is rampant everywhere. You know, I can't give you solid data on that, but I can tell you it's rampant. It's just everything, everywhere. Yeah, I can't. Wish I had numbers on it, but I don't.
Jose, I wish that some of the doctors and others would take responsibility in the billing type of arena, because my mom went in 95 years old with sepsis. Within that period of time, every day a hospitalist would come in, we don't know his name. When we got here I am an RN, and when I was trying to go through the mountain of things, and I said to Mom, I have no idea who Appalachian, whatever doctors came in, and you call the hospital, and they say, well, that must be a hospital. They're not taking responsibility on their end too. So is it just us, or are you citing the doctors?
Yeah, no, we can help. And that's part of that 877 number. You don't know how many times I've heard somebody say, hey, you know, my mom, I was taking care of my mom for years, and, you know, and then I was taking care of her, and then she passed. And suddenly now, you know, I wish I would have gone through her bill for her, because she got overbilled for all this stuff. But what I'd like you to do is call our number if you ever feel overwhelmed by that, and have everyone come through. We have a lot of insurance brokers, as well as captured agents that they keep our card, and they get overwhelmed with those questions, and they're just trying to do what's right by their customer. And sometimes they'll say, hey, call these guys and see if they can help you. So we're there to help you guys go through all that information. Our operators will gladly do that. They will sit down and say, now, I'm going to take a while to go through a mountain from a sepsis visit over a few days. But, you know, if we can probably weed it down to some stuff, but give us a call and let us do a 3-way call with that doctor or that. And we're never dealing with doctors. I keep saying doctors, guys. It's always the billing supervisor. Okay. But call us, use this as a tool. Definitely. Well, okay. Thank